Hey Potters. Well, here we go. I want to make another video on pictures and finishing them up. So this is a 3-pound pitcher, I believe 3 or 4. I'd have to look back and see. It is to the point where you can sort of move the pot, but it's getting pretty stiff. So I want to go in, do a little bit of trimming, vertical trimming and upside down trimming too, just to get a little bit of the weight down here put away. And it's mostly when I'm feeling what we have here, I want to say from about here down, I want to take a little bit off and see what it looks like, what it feels like. The reason why I'm doing it vertically is because this spout sometimes will cause the pot to be a little off center if I turn it upside down. So let's just see what we can do. This piece is still well attached to the wheel. And I'm just going to take the rounded part of this pear quarter, made a little mark about right here. And once again, you know, I want to leave the nice characteristic of the thrown pot while just taking a little bit of weight off the bottom. Also, and we'll be talking about this in a little more detail, with pots, it's always nice to, and more interesting with a pot, if you can keep the vertical or horizontal lines always moving just a little bit and changing. At least I think that's a consideration. So what I'm trying to do down here is make a little bit more pronounced curve and connect it up to the belly, which is right about here. So I'm trying to give this a little bit more interest in terms of the dynamics of the profile line, but always stopping and checking. Now I can't go any further there. It's gotten quite thin. It's probably equal in thickness now to up top. So I'm just going to take this soft rib again. Don't even think I really have to add any water here. I'll go in and work some of that grog and sand back into the clay. Maybe a little water. So just a few finer points with trimming. Once a pot is trimmed, sometimes it can get a little soft again, and you might want to take this pot and set it down. Let it dry at least until it will pop off the wheel head. So I think that's a good idea. I just wanted to quickly show you how I might finish off this pot. Now, because I haven't cut it off yet, let me think. Another option can be to then cut the pot off. Lift it up, feels good. And simply tap a little concave into the bottom of the pot. And that vertical trimming will be all that I do. I'm going to line up where the spout is, stamp my pot, and set it to dry on a clean board. And probably tomorrow I'll just go back in and put a handle on them. Looks good. Okay, so let us clean this up. And I'm going to do a couple more handles for you to watch. Here's some clay that I can recycle. I'm going to dip it in water. I'm going to squeeze that water in. And go over and cover it with plastic, put it back in the bag. Okay. Can we get these cups done? There is, it's a lot of physical work to make pots. It's pretty tiring. And you really definitely have to build up your sort of your strength and your ability to work through, at least, in this class, a 5-hour work session. So one way that I do that is that I work. I take my breaks, and when I feel like I'm tired and I'm really ready to stop, I try to do just one more thing. And what that does is it increases your ability to sustain the work. So think about that. Right when you're ready to quit, ask yourself, can I do one more thing today just to build up my ability to work in a sustained way? So this clay was really wedged. It's quite dry. I'm sort of tapping it into a nail or a wedge shape, and then C and peace sign. I have the pot right in front of me, and I'm thinking about, what is the proper size, thickness, and length for this pot. Working both sides, reverse pulling just to keep the clay nice and compressed. This is my 1 1/4 cup. You can see when you start to stretch the clay too much, you start getting little funny sort of cracks. I call them stretch marks in the clay. Let's see. That looks like it'll be long enough with a little extra. So here is my standard, and now I'm going to pull another to match it. what's that word I was searching for? Endurance. Got to build up your endurance in the studio. Very important to, get stretched out, stretch your muscles before you work. Take frequent breaks from throwing because it is pretty compressing on the body. Eat your food, bring some snacks, bring a lot of water. And also, when you get ready to be done with work, see if you can just try one more thing to build that endurance. That looks good. Gonna dry my hands. Score horizontal just so that the water will, whoops, haha, she said. Water will stay in those score marks. And then really push the clay into the wall of the pot. You really want to look at the handle from all perspectives, underneath, side, and top. And then we're going to pull a little. Now this is much more clay than I really need. That's okay. Better to have too much than not enough. And again, just realize that this handle is very wet and pretty fragile. So there's a certain amount that I can do right now, but then I really need to just control it and set it aside, let the handle catch up to the pot and dry out a little before I go back and do any real finishing. Check the bottom, make sure it's clean enough. Good, that handle, you can see this handle sits high. That's okay. See, about one more. There's my stamp. There's my scoring. A little bit of water. I think just to be efficient, I can use my prototype handle. Really widen that area of attachment, put my hand inside, push that handle onto the pot. Work it all the way around. I hope you can see this inside here. And one thing I may not have mentioned is that I don't try to pull the handle this way because it's just going to cause this clay to droop and make a kind of a not very interesting curve. This cup is held in my hand as if I'm pouring liquid out of the cup right now. Do you see how that handle's actually going up in the air right now? And that is because I want to establish a lifting curve to this handle. I want to avoid any kind of a curve that looks like it's being affected by gravity. I want it to lift. I hope you can kind of see how that handle springs off the pot rather than sinks. It springs rather than sinks. Okay. I'm going to check the bottom to make sure it's clean. You can also just give this a little push. And I think we've done it. Bye.